activity, we're going to talk about mixtures and solutions. So mixtures are a combination of multiple substances that are going to keep their shape, keep their size, just get mixed together, but you're going to be able to see all the individual pieces and all the individual parts to it. For example, if you pour sand into water, the sand is going to sink all the way to the bottom. The water is going to stay up at the top. They're going to be separated. So that is a mixture. Heterogeneous substances are substances like salads, Chex Mix, which we're going to work with here in just a minute. Even granite is a heterogeneous mixture with rocks, because you can see each of the individual colors of it. In salads, you can take out each individual piece of the salad and separate it. Nothing actually stays in the salad. Salad dressing is a different situation that we'll talk about when we talk about solutions. So we're going to start off with mixtures. So there's different ways that you can separate mixtures. You can use filtration to separate a solid from a liquid. You can use sifting, which is what we're going to use with our sieves. Where you can use evaporation, which is to take the liquid out of the solid. Chromatography, which is kind of like using a coffee filter and food coloring and letting the water evaporate and leaving the color behind. You can use magnets, and you can use flotation. So float and sink is a really good sort of one to see if it's a mixture. So for this one, we have a bag full of a mixture. We have some sugar in here, we have Chex Mix, and we have some marshmallows. And so there's different ways that you can sort, like we talked about. So some kids might just want to stick their hands in it and sort marshmallows in this one, the Chex Mix in this one, and you can even go as far as round pretzels, square pretzels, or the Chex Mix. But then you have the sugar, and the sugar is really fine, so it's a little bit harder to sift that out. So what we're going to use is we're going to use our sieve. So we have a bottom compartment that'll catch everything. We have a larger one, and we have a smaller one. So we're going to use the larger one first to try to get the sugar kind of sifted into a different area. And whatever else might fall down in there, we'll try to sift that out too. So we're going to pour the bag in. And then we're just going to kind of sift back and forth. Get it shook up pretty good. And break it up. And so we have the sugar with some smaller pieces of the Chex Mix. But we can even sort that down further. Put this on a tray. And we can sort the chunks out onto the tray and have just the chunks, the smaller bits of the Chex Mix, and then all the sugar in the coffee filter. And then from here, they could go and they could sort them with the marshmallows and the Chex Mix into another container. So that's one way that you can sort mixtures. All right, so we're going to move on to solutions. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about are solutions. So solutions are one substance that completely dissolves into another substance. For example, food coloring going into water. You cannot take food coloring out unless you do a filtration system or another way of separating the liquids. So the food coloring was the solute, and the water was the solvent. So the solute dissolves into the solvent. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Kool-Aid, which every kid loves, and water. So the solute, in this case, will be the Kool-Aid, the solid, and then the solvent will be the water, because the water is going to completely dissolve the solute. All right, so there are homogeneous mixtures, which are also solutions, And those are things that have a lot of substances compacted into it and mixed into it that you cannot see the differences of what's in it. You can't separate them out. That's what makes them a solution. So for instance, a candy bar. So there is sugar in here, there's chocolate, cocoa powder, let me read the ingredients. Let's see, almond, sunflower oil. It would be really difficult to separate all the substances in this, which makes it a homogeneous solution or mixture. So we're going to use our Kool-Aid and our water, so our solute and our solvent, and we're going to mix them up. Use a tray. So we're going to put the solute in the solvent. Use our straw to mix it up. So if I've mixed this enough, you will not see any more of the solute, which was the Kool-Aid, in the bottom of this, and you will have a solution. This Kool-Aid mixed completely with the water, and the only way that you would be able to evaporate it out, so to boil this water, you could boil the water and the water would evaporate out and you'd have the contents of the Kool-Aid left, or you could take it outside and just let it sit. Eventually the water would completely evaporate out and you would still see the red Kool-Aid mixed into it. So filtration cannot be used to separate a solute from a solvent. The solute dissolved in a solvent can be recovered by evaporating the solvent.